So I wanted to say a few quick things before we launch into pitches. I see a few new faces in here, so I'm going to risk boring you a little bit by just giving a quick introduction again. I'm Rani I'm co-founder of Uptima Business Bootcamp. We're co-hosting this with Impact Hub Berkeley this evening. We are a member-owned business accelerator that supports entrepreneurs in launching, going to market, funding, and scaling their businesses. And we really encourage them to think holistically about the role of their business in the community and how to achieve both positive community impact and financial return. We are a co-op, or starting off as a co-op, and that means that our entrepreneurs that come through our program are members, owners of our accelerator, and they get to share in the profits and get to participate in the governance of our program, as well as really creating a real community where we have a thriving system of businesses here at the East Bay. So I wanted to thank everyone who's participated here today. First of all, I want to thank our volunteers and organizers. If you could stand up real quick. Guest speakers who did innovation talks on Friday evening. If you could stand up and recognize them as well. And a couple of our mentors still here. Thank you for giving out advice during the course of the day. I think Kendra. Anybody else? Let's do it. And we have a terrific group of judges here tonight. Before I have them introduce themselves, I just want to go through and remind everybody about the judging criteria. Mark, would you mind transitioning? So, we asked our judges to judge each of the presentations on 5 criteria. Community need: does this solution address a significant community need for sharing assets, skills, or ownership? Design: is this solution inclusive and provides an accessible, equitable, and engaging means for sharing? Business model: did this team present a viable rollout strategy and plans for creating a thriving organization? Is this solution transformative in its potential in closing the wealth gap? And presentation: was the presentation, layout, and articulation of the solution professional? Next slide. And overall, we've asked the judges to look at, is this solution and the team ready for business incubation? And the reason why we're doing that is our prizes. So just to back up and thank our sponsors. I'm not going to thank myself, but we are offering the grand prize winner a full scholarship to our Business Accelerator program, and the runner-up 50% scholarship. And audience choice will get 2 hours of consulting from us. Worker Co-op Academy, which is a joint effort between the Project Equity, the Sustainable Economies Law Center, East Bay Community Law Center, Green Worker Co-ops, right? And they have created a Worker Co-op Academy, which is providing the best worker ownership model prize. That team will be able to go through that program for business incubation. Impact Hub Berkeley is offering co-working space for the grand prize and runner-up. It'll be 3 Hub 25 memberships that will last for 3 months. And then for the audience choice, we have one day pass for each team member, valid through October 31st. And then Baybucks, who is sponsoring 2 free registrations for the Living the New Economy Convergence, October 23rd through 26th in Oakland for the grand prize. SoCap is offering 2 free registrations for SoCap 2014, September 2nd through 5th in San Francisco. and that's for the grand prize as well. And all of the winners tonight are invited to present their ideas again next weekend here at the David Brower Center for the Meet Your Maker Fair. We're hosting a workshop which will hold about 50 or 60 people. So gain visibility for your idea, present it again, and participate in a panel discussion around how you created the solution through this hackathon. So with that, are you guys ready to pitch? One more thing. I want to introduce our judges tonight, and if they're judges, could just give 1 minute about who they are or where they're coming from. And can I start with you, Andrea?
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Armeni, glad to be here. I'm the Executive Director of Transform Finance, a nonprofit based in the Bay Area that works to bring a social justice and community-centered approach to funding, largely to impact investing and to foundation money. This project was born of the realization that a lot of money that is flowing into communities is actually failing to have a profound impact on communities. A lot of it is just palliative, low quality jobs, and we're pushing for a better approach that will create actual ownership, actual assets within communities, better jobs, and generally engage communities in the processes that affect them. Have communities be part of the conversation of what impact should be and what they want from flows of money. We do trainings for social justice leaders, and we run an investor network where we help investors figure out investment structures that will be particularly favorable to community ownership and community engagement. I'm very glad to be here.
Hi, I'm Ricardo from the Sustainable Economies Law Center. We do education, research, advocacy, and advice for just and resilient local economies. So our organization started actually, our co-founder wrote a book called Practicing Law in the Sharing Economy, because as we look at all of these sharing economy companies and moving into these new types of transactions within our communities with ownership models, we find that we're running up against a lot of legal barriers. And so what we're here to do is to try to figure out how to navigate those for people just like yourselves, as well as create laws that will help local economies flourish into the future. So yeah, that's what we do.
Hi, my name is Ann Price. I'm currently the director of the Closing the Racial Wealth Gap Initiative, housed here in Oakland at the Insight Center for Community Economic Development. For the past decade, there have been some folks working around the country to look at how we can address racial wealth disparities and growing wealth inequality in this country. And I'm pleased that I've been able to do that for the last 3 years. And I was real sick last night, but I'm really thanking my fellow judge over here, Millicent, for holding it down for me. So thanks a lot. Glad to be here.
Hi. I'm Millicent, player of PowerPoint Karaoke and Director of Partnerships and Community for Peers. Peers is a member-led organization, and really we try to be a platform and a voice for the people who are building the sharing economy all over the world. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Sushil Jacob. I want to learn how to play PowerPoint karaoke. I am an attorney. What's that?
You can use our PowerPoint.
All right. I'm an attorney at the East Bay Community Law Center in Berkeley, and my focus is on worker cooperative development, but my clients are nonprofits and co-op startups here in East Bay. With Ricardo at the Sustainable Economies Law Center, and with Hillary Abel, who gave a pitch last night about worker ownership, we're forming the Worker Co-op Academy, which is going to be launching this fall, and we hope one of your teams will be coming into it.
I just wanted to let all the participants and judges know that in your packet there's Living the New Economy Convergence discount code 10%, and that's on top of the early bird discount that's going now. So it'd be 35% off, and please hold on to them.
Yeah, and to that point, if you enjoyed this challenge, we're going to do this on a much bigger scale and talk about the entirety of the new economy at the new economy convergence in October. One more round of applause. Thank you everyone for participating and creating a space for talking about the wealth gap and how we can create sharing economy solutions to close that wealth gap.
So we are fund.coop, and we are a new financial product for co-ops, the sharing economy, and our entire goal is to close the wealth gap. Colleagues Chelsea Rustrom, my name's Cohen, and my name is Jesse. I'm super stoked. So next slide, please. So what is a co-op? Old school crowdfunding. It is basically one member, one vote. It increases engagement with communities. People are generally more involved. They're hyper-locally focused most of the time. And they network with each other. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of a co-op? Co-ops most of the time, oh, go back please. You're fine. Keep going.
Frozen.
Okay, so in Italy, for example, there were 3 towns, and they had different levels of cooperatives, worker-owned cooperatives. That's the type of cooperatives that we're going to be talking about. Let's do it this way. Overall, they had dramatically higher indices directly related to the level of worker cooperatives that they had. That increased their health, social well-being. They had lower crime, social participation, and a greater perception of social value if they were members of co-op than if they were not. Next slide, both please. So co-ops want to grow. They need access to capital to do that though. Some co-ops want to grow. Not all co-ops want to grow. Some co-ops want to stay very small. That's fine. Some co-ops, however, like Arizmendi, for example, or the co-op health workers in the Bronx, they do want to grow. They want to get much larger. Spread these benefits of co-ops to a greater number of people. So, however, in order to do that, they need capital. They need money. The problem is that loans are really tough. Thank you very much. Loans are very tough to secure. Most banks do not want to underwrite loans to co-ops because they're just not really familiar with the business model enough. So that's a problem. What is our solution? We will, stay back please. We will issue and underwrite bonds, just like a municipal bond, which is essentially an IOU or a loan. We will add a markup and sell it to investors who will receive a low-risk dividend. Now that may have been a little complex, but I'll explain it in a bit. This is better than VCs. Please go back. Thank you. This is better than VCs. Chelsea, one more. Co-ops are regenerative. Anything they build, they produce, it goes back into the community. It goes directly to the local members. They're not extractive. VCs are frequently extractive. This is massive 50x rate of return over 8 to 10 years, or 10 to 12 years for their fund. That's a problem because it just stays in the hands of the few at the very, very top. It does not stay with the workers. So this is not about exits. There is no selling these companies. This is about long-term financial stability. This is more than just financial impact. This also builds connection and community. Next slide, please. So what does this look like? Basically, you have a co-op, and the co-op says, I need money, because they want to grow. So they come to us, and they say, hey, I'd like a bond. We say, great. We give them money. They give us a bond, which is essentially an IOU, and a coupon, which is essentially an interest rate. So they will agree to pay us an interest rate, generally between 5 and 7%. Thank you. I will go very fast. And then we sell that bond after our markup to investors who pay us that money so that we can pay out the co-op. And then we give them an interest rate. So what's the market size? In the US, there are 300 plus co-ops, 400 million in annual revenue. If we gave a $10,000 bond to each, at a 6.5% coupon, that would earn us, or that would earn the investors $195,000. Please go to the next slide. In Europe, however, there are 50,000 co-ops, 1.5 million workers, and the annual revenue, which was not included, was 50 billion euros. So that is a dramatic difference between the US market and the European market. Next slide, please. Both. Next slide. So we can bundle these bonds together and group them as we grow. In the beginning, we'll just be bond by bond by bond. As we grow, we can bundle them and sell them more and more to. Yep, great. Please. Next.
Do it.
So what do we need to do? Educate, educate, educate.
So you already had a preview of Colibrary earlier, so you know all about it. But with Colibrary, what we're trying to do basically is to recreate that public library where we ask the question, why does it have to be limited to books? Why can't we include all these other things as well, including a lot of our personal goods? So next slide, please. So what it will entail is that users will be able to borrow stuff, to be able to lend stuff, to be able to build community as a result of borrowing and lending, and to be able to borrow for free. So it'll be regulated by the market of what people deem as where they're comfortable enough to loan out for free, where a tip can be given later. Next slide, please. So you're wondering, who would do something like that? So we already have evidence right now that there are people that are willing to go out of the way to help out the community, to give out free things, right? I mean, they really go out of the way, like in terms of Yodel and Free Cycle, that free section, Craigslist. So, however, we think this is untapped. Still, it's this untapped potential where a lot more people can participate in this if we just implement these really low-cost features, such as a social platform, recognition, insurance, to sort of make so that more people are more comfortable to sharing more things with more people. For example, so after applying these features, so let me ask you, like, how many people would you here would you say that if all you had was like a 1-minute conversation with Bob that's like 5 houses down, that you would feel a little bit more comfortable to share something of some value to them? If all it took was that 1-minute little conversation, so that overall there'll be public gain like that, it would be such a shame that if that was the only barrier. So we hope that this kind of recognition, the social platform of getting to know that person, is essentially a substitute to getting to know that person, so that we can break down that barrier. So that, next slide. So now suddenly, within your circle of people that you're more comfortable with sharing with, you've got Sally in the neighborhood who might need some school supplies, perhaps even like an iPod so that their kid can watch some Khan Academy YouTube videos to learn better when they couldn't afford one. So you can build that type of trust. Or Bob that wants a larger colander so that he can wash out all the lettuce for a large party that happens to be here for a presentation.
And so the flow sort of goes, you would search for things, locate items, see how far away they are from you, check out the reputation of the person who owns it and is offering it, look at sort of the conditions of and expectations of exchange. So if you need to clean it before you return it, replace different things that you've used. You would check out an item, set a return date, set a pickup place, rate each other, review each other when you're done, say thank you, tip them, or send them a thank you card or thank you note. And maintain a connection, so someone that you've lent to could borrow from you or lend to you in the future.
We will work with local libraries to set up dedicated web consoles so that disconnected members of society can access the co-library site. By sharing underutilized resources from our homes, we aim to close the wealth gap between those who have and those who don't. And we now have a demo to present.
Yeah. So on that homepage, you saw the Facebook login. We really wanted to connect this with real identities so we can establish that trust up front. This is the site that you see to show you all the items that are close to you in your neighborhood. And if you were looking, for example, a bike, you can sort of filter down into those and go pick, oh, I like this bike. And you can see, what pickup location this person in your community has set up so you guys can meet. You can decide on a pickup date range to actually meet that person. You can decide if you want to reward that person with a tip, a donation amount. You can even learn more about this person. What are their interests? What do other people in the community think about them? What are they rated? What social networks are they out there? And we really want to make it social as well. So the fact that you can message people within the community, and we want you to grow that community. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so in terms of share wealth hashtag, this is as share wealth as you possibly get. This is literally sharing wealth, okay? So, and it's already shown that already 5% of people are new sharers already in the US.
My name is George. I'm with Shared Coverage. My mission and our mission is to establish communities that guarantee healthcare access to each and every member of the community. I want to tell you why that's my mission. This was nearly 13 years ago today. Well, not today, but around now. I used to live in Hong Kong with my father, and he left his job then, and so after that he was without health insurance, and we relocated back to our hometown of Virginia. While he was on the flight coming back, he got a blood clot in his leg. This led to him being hospitalized, where he got pneumonia, where he ended up in the hospital for nearly 6 months, and the bills ended up over $600,000, and we ended up losing the house. I would go on to drop out of school to begin working. It changed the course of my life. I don't think it's something I can ever get over or forget. I think everybody is probably pretty familiar with the conditions of healthcare in America right now. The census in 2012 reported 48 million currently uninsured, 34 million for over a year, and California is actually above the national average. The leading cause of bankruptcy is medical expenses. This costs both individuals and the states and the businesses which they are members of. We can go past that one. So our guiding principle is to create more community social responsibility. The feeling among members of the community that they have a shared responsibility and a connection to each other and the need to take care of each other. What we do, we offer a product called a Shared Coverage Association. A Shared Coverage Association is endowed with a shared coverage fund. When members sign up to a Shared Coverage Association, along with their monthly premium, they will be paying in an extra percentage of that, which will be stored in this fund in order to protect members from gaps in their ability to maintain their premiums. We will reach out to established community leaders, religious leaders, government leaders, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, and give them the support they need to establish a new shared coverage fund and to recruit people for their association. We'll provide our movement's identity, the legitimacy of being aligned with our movement, and a education on what the best options for the people they're reaching out to are, and we'll provide a transparent financial management and crowdfunding platform for establishing and maintaining the fund. Okay? So what exactly does a shared community association do? At heart, they protect their own. Members who can't make their premiums are covered by the fund. The one prerequisite of membership to a fund: you must own and agree to make the best effort you can to maintain personal health insurance. So this is your personal coverage. This is not a group thing organized by the Shared Coverage Association, of at least the national bronze level. And that's as you would see on healthcare.gov at this time. Every month with their premium, members will make a monthly community agreed percentage of that premium into the fund to maintain it. Okay? Oh. Great. All right. Okay. So the ethics of a shared coverage association. Each member of the shared coverage association is expected to contribute if able. If they're unable, leaders of the community will help members. They will be given, education and resources from us to help them make the best healthcare decisions they can with the help they get from the fund with their current financial and life situations. The fund will always cover gaps in members' ability to maintain their insurance. There's never any shame in requiring assistance from the fund. We will always assume that people are acting in good faith. So communities, they stabilize, protect, and connect people. One of the gaps that leads to people like my father and me, falling through the cracks is that we get disconnected in society. We don't have communities that look out for us. And right now with, the uninsurance and healthcare situation in America, it's such a visible problem that we think we can rally people behind and get them to feel a strong emotional connection to that cause and to joining communities that provide common coverage solutions for each member.
Talking about sharing wealth and closing the gap, this is a very inspiring story in 1950s, where Vinoba Bhave, who was the spiritual successor of Gandhi, walked across the country and he appealed to landlords who had more land to give it to those who were landless. Even those who would say, "Oh, I have 4 children. How can I give it? How can I give it?" He says, "Think of this landless guy as their fifth child, and give it to them." And he ended up, having 5 million acres of land being donated just out of kindness. So this is not too back. It's 1950s, and there are many people in India today who live on his ideas. This is Uday Bhai from a community back in India who rides a rickshaw on this principle. He has no meter. He just trusts people. And he says, some people pay me less, some people pay me more, but the amount of love it gets in the community trust, is priceless. Next. This is Dr. V. Next. He kind of, wanted to start at 50 years, start a hospital to cure blindness, and no bank gave him a loan, no investor, gave him money. So he mortgaged his house, created a 12-bed hospital, and today it's the world's largest chain of eye care service provider. And even till today, folks who cannot afford it are given free services. Next. And a lot of people, like in Harvard, it's been a case study since 1993. They asked them, how did you become so successful despite being, so compassionate? He said, that's a wrong question. It's because of the compassion at the core. And back here in Silicon Valley, we have, Nipun Mehta, who's, created Service Space, started Service Space, which is distributed, organizing with 500,000 volunteers, offering dozens of, services completely as a gift. And there are so many of us in the room who are all trying to create, enterprises to share wealth. But what path you take on many of these will actually decide, because many times we've seen that if you raise venture capital, the kind of treadmill it needs to kind of go into ordinary non-profit, that's the problem. So the path we've taken is to actually connect with grassroots entrepreneurs who are doing work in the local communities, and not with the ego of trying to help or fix the problem, but with a spirit of serving with compassion. And what we do is we facilitate kind of collaboration between cohorts in similar areas. At the same time, we also organize gatherings where we kind of have diverse people who kind of do cross pollination. So we did an event in February. We got 40 local grassroots entrepreneurs, and that rippled out to me being invited to Bali in their annual conference in June, where we have 30,000 plus local entrepreneurs, and we shared what we were doing, and now we're going to do events in US for their entrepreneurs, and they're going to come in in India. And then some people who I met at Bali conference are here, and that's why I am here. And I met this lady Dana, who kind of facilitated 600 pounds of extra food being given to homeless shelters in Oakland. And when here's an idea of feed forward, I connect her to them. So these kind of connections happen when you're not really doing with an agenda of what am I going to get. You're just purely helping people move ahead. So our model is to actually kind of identify these local grassroots leaders doing good work and offer them all the support they need as a gift. So we have some funding committed so that we can operate in that way. And then as step 2, allow them to either form co-ops by themselves or partner with folks like say Uptima who are kind of working in the co-op model. And we focus a lot on multiple forms of capital. While financial capital is just one form, but how can we nurture them with many more other forms of capital? And we've created systems and process, like in February event, we literally had each team with a pot full of offering of these multiple forms of capital. So and in terms of transformation, we really focus on starting with inner transformation, because many times you focus on external, but if it starts with purity inside, things just happen. So we believe in this, we coined this term called giftivism. When I say we, service space of practicing really radically generous acts, because while a lot of these tools, apps are very important, I think we need some really radical solutions to kind of move from the money-based economy to more of sharing. And I'm here to kind of create collaboration between India and US, and I'm really not here to win competition but to win hearts with authentic sharing. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Happy to be here. My name is Victor. I'm a passionate social entrepreneur from the East Coast. We have Catherine here, Diana, Sebastian. And we're going to be talking about the world's first open source economy. There's a big problem out there. There are a lot of people who are passionate about things, but they don't have enough money to fulfill those passions and really live them in the world. So we have a really great opportunity to make this a myth and part of the past. I would follow my dream, but I just can't afford to. That's going to move in the past. And the opportunity that we have in front of us is to create the first open source economy. So we have an opportunity to bring all of the people like us together in the same environment and really live what we're talking about doing. We're talking about sharing, talking about working together, sharing space, all that stuff. Now we have an app that allows us to do that. Just like Pablo Picasso said, the purpose of life is to find your gift. The meaning of life is to give that gift. So how are we going to do that? Well, we built an app prototype called Humanify, and Sebastian is going to talk a little bit more about how it'll work.
Yeah, so this is the front part of my challenge, so the iCandy, the visual design. Sorry. So we did a prototype, and actually we can use that on Android and iPhone. And basically it's a feed, a daily feed, and based on your location, and in the future it will be based on your interests. So if you always are looking for, I don't know, collaborative work, for example, you will see always the content related to that topics. So basically, it's the mechanism is we have different cards. Yeah, we can see that, but also you can tap something really specific and get like a standard search. But yeah. So the mechanism is quite simple. We want to keep that really simple. So you swipe to the left, you are not interested. You swipe to the right, you are interested to the content. And here we have 3 different examples: offer, favor, gift. You can explore that later. And then we have an example with a full offer. You can make an offer and you can see the community offers. So different example just to show that we can keep that really simple.
And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're kind of hitting on multiple levels is our community needs and our ability to actually transform and change something. Communities exist within so many different layers. You have people who are low income or who are poor or homeless who have all sorts of skills, or maybe they're coming from a different place. People who are in transition, whether jobs or locations, that are trying to connect within a community, as well as people who are established and want to give back, or they're just too busy to do certain things. So some of the examples of the users that some of the examples of the different kinds of people that we would have using this, if you go to the next slide, would be like Emily, the emerging professional. She's just looking to meet new people and share her hobbies on this. Whereas Terrence is someone who, by using kind of the skills that he's starting to build, is demonstrating his professional skills and building a reputation. Sally, the sharing guru, essentially is just trying to try out some kind of new shared economy. Whereas people like Chris, who's involved in the neighborhood that he's in, he's trying to help his community become more self-reliant and well-connected through this by getting involved with the community that they have, like connecting his neighbors with the skills that they have in doing that. Whereas an older population might just not be able to afford to actually have someone come in and help them, but they can post something saying, oh, I need like 2 or 3 hours of someone coming in and helping me move stuff around my house, but I happen to be a car mechanic for like 30 years, and I can talk to you about that.
So diving into the business model, going after proven successes like Spotify, going after a freemium/premium component for individual users, and then jumping into an enterprise model, assuming that we get critical mass, and we're able to make some interesting propositions to businesses who would want to advertise and market. What we need right now, we need people to sign up on the website, first of all, so humanify.co. If you're interested, please sign up. And we need about 85K to build the actual product itself, do some growth hacking, market the thing, buy some advertising, and just kind of keep the lights on and buy some hosting space. So we've already got a lot of good momentum thus far. We've got a couple of people who are advising us, reached out to a few community organizations. They sound interested to do beta prototypes. And sounds like that's all we have time for.
And my partner is Shinjiro. We're Mission 23. When cities gentrify, small businesses become the most vulnerable. And it's a cruel irony because very often these are the very same small businesses that make our neighborhoods so special to begin with. Our objective, Mission 23, promotes collaborative economy solutions for small businesses facing affordability challenges. And our model is simple as ABC. A, we acquire at-risk multi-tenant commercial buildings. B, we build a transferable knowledge base. And C, we implement collaborative sharing economy solutions. Proponents of gentrification highlight that increased median incomes of gentrified neighborhoods acts like a rising tide that lifts all boats. But if we take a closer look at some of the numbers, it appears that some groups benefit from gentrification more than others. So here are a few examples. Brooklyn, New York. In 2000, there were 4 zip codes in Brooklyn that had a white population of 19%. By 2010, this was then 44%. DC had a similar trend. 3 zip codes went from 25% to 49%. But we see this isn't just limited to a few cities. It's happening all over the place. The next theme I'd like to highlight is ownership. Ownership is one of the most viable means of achieving wealth. So let's look at a few numbers here. African Americans represent 12% of the total population in the US. But when it comes to small business ownership, they only represent 4% of small business ownership. And even more startling, 0.4% is the African American percentage of total small business receipts. As we transition from an old economy to a new economy, we need to change these trends. Our objective is to ensure that all members of society have accessible means to participate in these moments of disruptive wealth transfer. So let's start with our design and business model. As I walk you through the next slides, there are 2 themes that continue to weave through the slides. 1, we bring the power of big guy tools, systems, processes to small businesses. And 2, we can do this in a way that reinforces local and collaborative solutions. So let's start with acquiring buildings. In today's world, if you're a small business owner, chances are you lack the financial resources necessary to purchase a building. But what if you group together with other small businesses? And what if you had the benefit of a skilled person a person skilled in negotiating large real estate transactions working on your behalf? So you might actually have a chance of having a means of ownership in that building. So we go to the next slide. Once we acquire a building, our plan is to redesign the building and base it on sharing economy principles. So this slide here shows a building today. It's all numbers. You don't even know who's really in there. Tenants are known by their account numbers. What if we took a different approach? Mission 23 would redesign buildings based on sharing economy principles, reflecting the needs of the businesses that reside there. And we would have voting rights based on social capital, and then we would top it off with a sustainable energy roof. How we operate the buildings. We'd operate them based on replicable tools and services. So what do we mean by this? Today, if you're a small business owner, let's say that you're a business owner who sells widgets. Well, in order to sell those widgets, you have to figure out systems and processes to operate and manage your supplies and inventory, utilities, and your bookkeeping and payments. And if you want to expand capital, it's a big burden to carry on your shoulders. It's not sustainable. Under Mission 23, our plan is to under Mission 23, we would group together the businesses and actually facilitate services, bookkeeping, payments, financial counseling, POS solutions, and order management, and dashboard reporting and peer comps. So we're giving you big business tools at a local level. We can move to the next one. And here, a big thing for us is global reach. And a key critical component of this is an open source ERP. Big corporates spend millions of dollars on proprietary systems that automate business processes. Small businesses, the small guys that don't have the resources, often have to do this manually, and it dampens their growth. They're not able to scale up. Under Mission 23, we would enable small businesses to benefit from the savings of millions of dollars that would otherwise be spent on proprietary licenses, and secondly, that have knowledge transfer in a local way. Okay. So we have a lot of, where we are today? Okay, thank you. Can we go back to where we are today for questions?
So we start. Hello everyone, we are Cookie Jar, the first peer-to-peer marketplace for homemakers. First, let me introduce the team. Well, this is Steve, an MBA from Canada. It's Andre, a programmer from Canada as well. There's me, very serious there, and Master of Social Entrepreneurship from Chile. There's Niri and Alan that unfortunately are not today here, other two MBAs, and there's also James, an entrepreneur and advisor. Now, coming back to our business, well, we are a peer-to-peer trusted marketplace that allows home bakers to list and sell their goods, to sell it to hungry cravers in the local community. So how does it work? Well, meet Teresa. She's a home baker, but actually she had a full-time job already. And she really liked to cook cupcakes, and actually their friends say that their cupcakes are amazing. And she's trying to turn this hobby into a business. On the other side, we have Paul. He's a craver. He loves homemade goods, but he's struggling with the fact that he cannot find it everywhere. You know, he hates already the cupcakes from Safeway. So this is where we come. We're Cookie Jar, so we're the place where Paul can buy Teresa's baked goods in 3 easy steps. Well, Teresa just needs to post it, sell it, bake it. Paul, crave, order, enjoy, and we take care of transaction and rating system. Who are our bakers? Well, we identified 3 bakers here. We have the culinary students that, well, they need practical training, and of course they need to earn money while in school to keep being sustainable. We have the semi-pros that they are bakers that they're already working for bakeries, or actually they're working in their houses in an informal way. So we are giving them access to new customers and easy online payments as well. And we have the home heroes. These people practically spend most of their time in their houses. So we want to give them instant online presence and at the same time increase their average income. Next slide. Well, what is the community opportunity here? Well, I don't know if you guys are aware about the Cottage Food Act. That act, that law allows people to cook and bake in their houses and sell it to the crowd. So actually, what this law allows is to increase the opportunity of these people with less investment to be bakers or cookers. Also, we support entrepreneurship and we're increasing the average household income. Next. In terms of market opportunity, well, this market in the United States is $33 billion. So we would like to give a piece of it to the people who don't have access to create a bakery, right? Next one.
Okay, so we'll walk a little bit through how this is going to work. So first we have the cravers over here. They're going to go onto the platform and they'll look at the goods and they'll order what they like. They'll then go to the home bakers, who will then process the orders and bake these fresh baked goods and deliver them back to the cravers. And through this process, we'll take a 10% transaction fee to run the platform. Next slide. So we're looking to start locally in San Francisco. We think in the first year we'll sign up 50 bakers. We already have a number of them committed to do a beta with us. And then we think that with the average amount that people said that they're willing to bake, this would be around $840,000 revenue for those bakers in the local communities. After that, we want to expand to other cities that have the Cottage Food Act enabled there, so they're able to sell things online to the crowd, as well as communities that have a large number of farmers markets. And these are places where these same types of goods are bought and sold, and so you know that there's interest in this type of food. And through here we will scale up. And in our preliminary research, we found that there's a lot of commonalities of what people want to bake and what people want to buy. So the biggest things are cookies, cupcakes, brownies, and cakes. And then as well as from the bakers we've surveyed, 75% want to sell online, and this is one thing that we were concerned about, but we found that over half of the people would actually buy baked goods online. So next slide, please. So we already have some of these bakers lined up to bake, and now we're working on the platform. So with events like today, we've started to make this, and it will make this a reality. So thank you.
We built Smurf. Our slogan is build your community, share your passion. Smurf is a way to trade your time and services without currency, so that everyone can have an economy where they can give and get skills and services without credits or money. So this is Julie. I don't know if that's really her name, but she has 2 jobs and she has 2 kids, and she needs 20 hours of babysitting a week right now, and she really wants to get her GED and wants a math tutor. She is also fortunate to have Spanish as a second language. Awesome. Right?
Solution is Smurf. Smurf is a skills sharing platform where people can exchange skills and services without using any money or currency. With Smurf, Julie can teach someone Spanish in exchange for someone giving her knowledge and babysitting her kids. She can also receive math tutoring so that she can do her GED, and all this is with no currency.
We're going to jump to a quick demo. We're going to jump to the end. And and not be a link. And have to be copied and pasted. And then
The library.
There's a link on the back.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So this is a way to exchange services without money. Smurf will receive the following info, your profile, things like that. So let's say you're Julie, and you go in and you say exchange services without money. You say I need. Julie would type in I need babysit, because that's what she needs to have done. And I can Spanish. Because of course, yeah. All right, so she gets a list of matches of people who can help her out, like people who can help her out in the same way. And the cool thing is she can talk with them and then arrange times to meet, and all this is done without currency. All of it's without credits or anything like that. And you may be wondering, what is the incentive for people to help each other out if they don't get credits or money? And in our system, everything is based on empathy and merit. So you review Sierra Brown and you tell the rest of the community how your experience was with her. And so the reason why you work with her is because she's doing other good things in the community. And the reason why you work with anybody is because they're helping all the other people in the community out. And you can see their community credit score. If we go back, you can see everybody has a community credit score, and you can see how helpful of a person they are to the community. So in this case, we're trying to replace money with just arbitrary trust, and we're trying to represent that using this system so that small communities can organize without using any currency whatsoever. Awesome. Go back to the slides, and then go back to that slide. Awesome.
Cool. Our business model doesn't include revenue at all. Our revenue is going to be knowledge. We don't want to deal with any currency. We don't want to we don't want to take money from the community. So basically our revenue that we get from this is that we will learn skills and we will gain knowledge from the community. The funding and running the platform itself comes from the Smurf platform. So if we want to maintain the site, we'll have someone from the Smurf community come and help us maintain that site. The web hosting will work the same way. We get services and skills in exchange for hosting the service and for maintaining the website. In addition, we're going to put Smurf in existing communities so that it grows faster, because people are more comfortable sharing skills and meeting up with people that they already know. So schools, universities, co-working spaces. We're also going to connect people with other individuals who are mutual friends or people that they share a connection with, so that they can expand their social network and eventually we'll build a really large, friendly community.
Awesome. About these guys. So we chose the name Smurf because Smurfs live in this little economy where they don't have currency and they just kind of do things for each other out of the goodness of their hearts. So we thought it'd be cute to, whenever people get
credit in the Smurf community, they get merit, and they do good things for the community, they grow from being baby Smurfs to being Papa Smurfs. So whenever you do a whole bunch of good things, and you're very empathetic, and you've taught 100 people how to play tennis, and 100 people have learned to speak French from you, then you become an elder Smurf, which is awesome. You would understand. Okay.
Okay, so this is basically a diagram that explains how everything works. So you have a math teacher, right? And the guitarist wants to learn math. The guitarist learns from the math teacher, and then you pay it forward by teaching, let's say, someone else how to play the guitar, right? And then that person knows how to program, and because they got a benefit from them.
That's it. You liked it.
That's how much food goes wasted every single day in America. Over 365 million pounds of food. While this is happening, 50 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. That's 1 in every 4 San Franciscans. So clearly the issue is not a lack of food, rather an inequitable distribution of it. So the question is, how are we going to make this process reliable, efficient, and lucrative? Introducing Feeding Forward. Feeding Forward is an online and mobile platform that connects businesses with excess food to feed those in need instantly. Think of us as the Uber for food requesters. Here's how it works. Our friend Adari's from Spoon Rocket realizes at the end of the day that he has over 480 pounds of food left over. And instead of throwing it away, he posts his excess food onto our platform. Our platform automatically geolocates him, and he tells us the number of pounds that he has. Our algorithm then matches it to the nearest agency who can accept food at that day at that time. An on-demand driver will come pick up that food and drop it off to that homeless shelter. And then as a full circle, Adarius gets to see the impact he made through photos and testimonials received by the recipient agency. The food waste market is huge. Over $174 billion is wasted by commercial businesses due to food waste. To put that in perspective, by capturing just 1%, that's over $1.7 billion. So we have a very inclusive model by including businesses with excess food, the community members who can help deliver this excess food, and agencies who can register when they're in need of food. So here's how we make money. Businesses either are charged a flat pickup fee plus 25 cents per pound of food, or a subscription fee. For a small processing fee, we can also generate businesses' tax-deductible receipts. Here's just a few of the businesses that have signed up to use our technology to reduce their food waste. So you might be wondering, why do businesses pay us? Of course we're reliable and efficient. In fact, we have a 100% pickup rate to prove it. And of course, we provide a comprehensive impact report detailing the amount of people fed, the carbon offset, where did the food go, along with testimonials and photos, and that generates great PR. But the true bread and butter, no pun intended, is the data and analytics we provide them that allow them to reduce their costs, both financially and through disposal costs as well. Businesses don't have to fear any liability because federal and state laws indemnify them. So in our beta pilot, we've recovered already over 402,000 pounds of food, feeding over 418,000 people by creating a network of over 400 businesses and recipient agencies. So what's next for Feeding Forward? Well, we want to expand throughout the Bay Area. And in doing so, we need financial resources, technology, some government support, as well as more businesses to sign up. We want to expand to Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and New York. We want to sign up an additional 2,000 businesses and agencies, and in that time, we want to feed 10 million people. So, when I started this presentation, I asked you to imagine this stadium filled with food. Now I want you to stop imagining and start feeding forward.
So everyone, so I mentioned earlier that we had an Audience Choice Award, and we're going to do this by SMS polling. vote up only one of only your favorite of each of the presentations that went on tonight. Vote to 650-600-9016. Fund.coop is 56754. Co-library is 56755. Shared coverage is 56756. Feeding forward 56757. Humanify 56758. Mission 23 56759. Cookie Jar 56760. Smurf 56761. And Startup Kindness 56762. And then we're going to have 4 minutes to vote. So timers, can you time us?
Yep.
Like Andrea said, we had a great deal of deliberation. It was a lot of conversation around, we wish there could be 3 runner-ups. So I want to announce the runner-up, and that's Co-Library. As you take this idea forward, particularly looking at low-wealth communities, is to really think about how you could partner really closely with libraries where the needs of those communities, where that's a first stop place. So we were excited about the possibility that you could really partner more closely with libraries, particularly in low-income communities. So thank you.
I'm going to award the Worker Co-op Academy Prize, and we're really looking for, in our Worker Co-op Academy, it's not only that we're creating businesses that are worker run, but creating organizations that are going to facilitate worker ownership to really expand and explode here in the Bay and then beyond. And so our Worker Co-op Academy prize goes to fund.coop.
Rains, did you already leave?
Yeah.
Where's the hat?
Yep, one more. 3, 2, and 1.
This is the hardest task, was figuring out who we should select as the winner. So, in short and sweet, we chose Humanify as the winner. So congratulations. Because it might not be for the reasons people might think. First of all, Humanify had, it's clear that you have talent on your team. The presentation was beautifully designed. The concept images of your product was very beautiful. But that's actually not what this judging team selected you for. And we really want you to hear what we have to say, because we see a lot of potential in this product. Going back to why do we have this business planning competition is about closing the wealth gap. And what are some of the reasons why low wealth communities are held back in our society? Well, one of them is because we have very discriminatory, stigmatizing brands and markers on people. One of those is credit scores. It's very hard once you have a low credit score to get out of that. It's a brand or it's a stigma that follows you and affects every major financial decision and many other decisions increasingly in our hyper-connected, data-driven lives. But what we were intrigued with is the idea of a social capital score as a way to give people from low-wealth communities in particular a sense of agency and a way to rebuild their own score through social capital. And this can have huge implications when you're thinking about employers looking at people's employability, looking at their social capital score and what the community has rated them for. It can have a really big impact on closing the wealth gap. That's one huge part of why we liked this Humanify concept. The second part is because it is a way to disrupt and get into the idea of alternative economies. And there's so many apps and so many concepts around time banks, alternative economies, credit systems, non-cash economies. And what you described was talking about an open source economy. And we think that this whole idea of an open source economy where people are deciding how much they want to put, how much credit they want to give for a particular act, and calling it trust tokens or whatever it is potentially really disruptive, and we want to see where it goes, and we're really excited about that. So finally, it's a way for people from low wealth communities to gain employment skills and gain employability. And that's what we really hope comes out in this app. So good luck and congratulations.
Go in 3, 2, and 1.
If you guys liked it, we're going to do it on a much bigger scale in October at the Living the New Economy Convergence. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be like this with a lot more people, a lot more energy, and a much bigger room. A lot more space. So again, you guys have those flyers in your folders. Everyone here gets 10% off of the convergence passes in addition to the early bird price, which is only valid until July 31st.
And there's a limited number of them too.
Sorry?
And there's a limited number.
Yeah, absolutely. So hope to see a lot of you guys at that event